Good morning, everyone. Welcome back. It is FPC Radio Live. It's Thursday, October the 12th, and it is the last day of work for us this week. That's right. It is a Friday show on a Thursday, so we are going to give you our picks. We're going to talk about Thursday Night Football tonight between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Denver Broncos. That should be, I don't know. That could be interesting because, it's kind of like that old, Patriots and like Bills or Miami. It doesn't really matter how good one team is or the other. They kind of always play each other tough. But nonetheless, John, I don't expect anything but a Kansas City Chiefs victory tonight. How close the game is will kind of determine whether or not it's going to be entertaining. But it's going to be should be a fun weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. You start with that, and you got the big slate of college football on Saturday, and then some interesting matchups on Sunday. I know you'll be attending one of the games, which will make it even more fun.
Yes, it should. Actually, there's going to be two games I'm attending. I'm actually attending. First of all, hockey season is back, and I'm very thrilled about that. The Bruins, big win. I'm calling it 75 wins this year. They're going to top what they did last year. But they're going to get knocked out in two games. I don't know how that's possible, but that's going to happen. I'm trying to cope here. So, some, self-deprecating, well, I guess Bruins deprecating humor. But no, hockey, returned over the last couple days. So I don't know. Pretty excited for it. No, but I'm going to be going to that Vegas, Golden Knights game against the Ducks. I was going to bring them up because I don't know if you saw their banner raising ceremony the other night, but it was pretty cool with the slot machine and everything. Right? Yeah, it was. Yeah. I mean, of course. I mean, I've been to a preseason game there, so it is quite a spectacle. It's a really fun environment for, if you're a hockey fan and like a lot of flashing lights, loud noises. Good God, I've never heard a goal horn as loud as that. I'm not kidding you. I'm prepared for it this time, but last time I was not. I mean, I thought my eardrum was going to blow out, but the whole ceremony was pretty cool with the slot machine reveal and obviously all the coins filling up the rink and everything like that. It was definitely very, very Vegas. Not going to lie, it definitely was. But it was great to have hockey back. Obviously the Bruins, big win. I say 75 wins, but I'm realistic, John. 60, okay? 60 wins.
Can you get more in the postseason, though? I mean, can you?
Well, that's where they're going to make it up,
75?
Yeah. Well, no. 59 and then 16. I don't want 15 wins in the playoffs. That's more devastating than I think what happened before. That means they got to Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Final and lost.
That would not be good. Going into the playoffs last year, they had 65 wins in the regular season, and I put out are the Bruins going to win more games than the Red Sox? Well, the Red Sox ended up at 78, so the Bruins had gone ahead and won the Cup. They would have been at 81, so they would have had a better record or more wins.
Yeah.
Than the than the Red Sox. So yeah, see what happens here. You get to see Connor Bedard get his first NHL goal at TD Garden, right?
Yes.
And it's almost 40 years after Mario Lemieux scored his first career
to the day
goal at the old Boston Garden. I think it was his first or second shift, and he just was like manhandling people out there, and you're like, oh, this guy's pretty good.
Yeah. And then of course we all remember when he returned after his battle with leukemia and scored again or tallied a point on his first shift again.
Yeah,
that was incredible. That was incredible. I mean, I still you watch that clip and it's like you get chills watching that. And I know you're a big Mario Lemieux guy, so and kind of a somewhat related note because again you think about that game and you think about the broadcast crew at the time that was calling it and. We heard over the weekend, sadly, that Barry Melrose is now dealing with Parkinson's disease. And anyone who's followed hockey and been around the sport knows how much of a character and in a great way that Barry Melrose has been for the league and for just the coverage of the game for quite some time. So it's definitely you go back and, like I said, you think about that Mario Lemieux call, and I'm almost certain, maybe I'm misremembering it, but I'm pretty sure it was the Gary Thorne, Bill Clement, and Barry Melrose on the side, crew that was calling that game, because very distinct voice that you can kind of recall, especially from Gary Thorne. But that whole crew and obviously Barry Melrose was a big part of that. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I always enjoyed listening to him. He was a character, right? And not that he played a character, but he had personality. Or he has personality. I don't want to put him in the past tense. And, let's hope that he does as well as he can dealing with this dreaded disease. But, yeah, he certainly, I think hockey needs more of that, right? Like people that have personality rather than cookie cutters type of guys. Like Sidney Crosby's not really much of a personality. Ovechkin is. Yeah. So, you see the difference between those guys. But no, it's good to have hockey back, and we'll see what the Bruins are all about this year. Maybe they just have like this quiet open, have a nice regular season, and maybe they gel and peak in the regular season and in the postseason.
Yeah, I was gonna say we don't want we don't want them peaking in the regular season again.
No,
that's
April and May is when you want to be peaking,
and June, especially June.
Oh,
you really want to peak in June. No, you do want more personalities. Unfortunately, the type of personalities like the media are going for now are more loud and boisterous than again, Barry was flamboyant in a way that always had slick back hair, the fancy shoes, and he owned it. It was part of his character, but in a good way, because it brought good attention to hockey, and he loved the sport. I mean, that was the thing too. You talk to people, anyone whoever happened to run into him in an airport or something like that, he always took pictures and stuff like that. You saw a lot of those stories come out on Twitter after the announcement was made that he's dealing with that. So it's definitely, like I said, definitely unfortunate to hear and everything. So, but anyways, I do want to, before we get to, and like I said, this is going to be more of a Friday show. So we're going to actually run through all of our picks today as opposed to tomorrow. But I do want to bring up one other thing, and obviously we haven't had a chance to talk a lot of baseball on the show this year, but I do feel like it's important to bring up that the Los Angeles Dodgers have flopped once again. See ya, Dodgers. Bye-bye. I mean, if you can get any sort of enjoyment as a Red Sox fan or just a fan of a team that didn't make the playoffs this year, you can probably rejoice that the Dodgers lose, because, I mean, let's face it, are they? They're not the Yankees. Let's not kid ourselves. I mean, the hatred for the Yankees, I think, just even beyond just Boston fans, I think the hatred for the Yankees is a little bit more intense across the league. But the Dodgers seem like a pretty, I don't know, unlikable team. There's really just, outside of Los Angeles, why would you really like the Dodgers? Does that make sense?
It does in a sense, because I think they carry themselves, the organization does, that they're proof as ice cream, that they invented baseball, that they're smarter than everybody, that they've found this ability to be a big market team yet develop young players, which is, I think, what the Red Sox are trying to do, and they can't do both at the same time.
And what the Astros are actually doing.
The Astros are going to the 7th consecutive American League Championship Series, and during that time they've won 2 World Series, appeared in another, they've become the model franchise. And the thing about the Astros is they're probably the most hated franchise right now, hated team in baseball. And the thing is, they embrace it. They have no problem with that. They're fine with that, and they're very happy playing the man in the black hat. The Dodgers, they have always carried themselves that way. That they are just they broke the color barrier, which was incredible, from 1947 with Jackie Robinson. That's still one of the most momentous occasions in this country's history, let alone sports. But they've always carried themselves as we're just smarter than everybody. And, they're in that second rung of franchise in terms of winning. There's the Yankees unto themselves.
Yep.
And then the Cardinals are number 2 with most World Series. And then the Dodgers are in there with the Giants and the Red Sox and the A's and a bunch of other teams that have had a lot of success, but nothing quite like the Yankees. But the Dodgers are a very, very arrogant team. I'm a huge Mookie Betts fan. Mm-hmm. I love Mookie Betts. Wish he never left the Red Sox, but he hasn't exactly stepped it up in the postseason in his career. Really, even when the Red Sox won the World Series in 18, it was more about his defense than his offense. I mean, such a great all-around player. But yeah, they lost to a team, Ian, that won 84 games.
Yeah.
That only had 6 more wins than the Red Sox, and now Arizona's peaking. And that's what baseball is, though. You get teams that have great regular seasons. Once the Orioles were the best team in the American League in the regular season, they get swept. The Braves, which looked like the best team in baseball all year. They're down 2-1 in the best of 5 against the Phillies. So baseball, you see these upsets.
Oh yeah. Oh, I mean, because again, it could just be a matter of one pitcher being off or one pitcher, breaking the trend and kind of dominating. You know what I mean? And it's all of a sudden things are all haywire and everything like that. So, no, like I said, it is fun being, obviously at the end of the day, I am a fan of a team that has been a bottom dweller more than a top dweller. But John, they do have more World Series titles in that span than the Dodgers. A lot of teams do, actually. Several teams. I don't want to say a lot of teams, but
the Giants have 3, and that's the Dodgers' biggest rival.
Yeah,
is the Giants. So
yeah,
it's
kind of like if the Maple Leafs finally won a Stanley Cup in imagine if they did it in 2020 in the bubble, and it's like they finally won after 50 years of not winning. And then it's like they, haven't done anything since and kind of still went right back to being the first round exit Maple Leafs. So
right.
That's essentially, that's the hockey version of that in my opinion. So anyways, let's get to football because I do want to get through these picks and, make sure that we do our due diligence. Again, I have not looked at my record overall, John. I refuse to because I feel like it's going to be abysmal. It's just been bad. I just have had a terrible instinct picking these games, but I think I'm going to be right on this first one, and that's going to be Thursday Night Football. So tonight, if you're listening to this on Thursday, if you're listening to this on Friday, well, yesterday. But tonight, Thursday, we have the Denver Broncos the Kansas City Chiefs hosting the Denver Broncos in a battle, AFC West battle. And look, I mean, the spread from one place, 10.5 points. I mean, that's to be expected. It's surprisingly not the biggest one, John, of this week, but Kansas City is obviously heavily favored because they have a Patriot-like streak over the New York Jets, like the Patriots have over the Jets, over the Broncos, and the Broncos have not won a game, I believe, against Kansas City since 2015, John.
Yeah, I think the last time they beat them, Peyton Manning was their quarterback.
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes has never lost to the Denver Broncos, so you're exactly right, Ian. They dominate. Kansas City dominates Denver as much as the Patriots dominate the Jets, and I think that will probably continue tonight. But I think we're going to look closely at the Chiefs because everybody's scoring points against the Broncos. The Jets put up 31 last week and over 400 yards of offense.
Yeah.
So if they could do that, Kansas City should get into the 30s. If Kansas City's held to 24 points again tonight, then that may be even more of a red flag about Kansas City's offense at this point against the poorest defense. So that's what you're going to really focus in on tonight.
Well, and I'll always add the caveat that it is a divisional game and kind of, those rules kind of go out the window when it comes to, Kansas City only put up 24 points. Well, I'm pretty sure they haven't really put up too many points against Denver the last couple years, but they've still won. So, but anyways, I don't want to get too fancy here, but I'm obviously taking Kansas City here. I don't think that they're going to cover the spread because I do think, again, this is going to be a closer game just because, well, it's a divisional game. And I'll think that, here's the thing. Russell Wilson's not playing terrible. I mean, this is, again, kind of a far cry from where he was that we're sitting here saying, well, he's not playing terrible. He's playing pretty well at times. I mean, there's still moments. I mean, that strip sack, it was kind of like the Mac Jones one where it's like, I know it came from the blind side, but it just felt like he just had terrible awareness of what was going on around him. The same thing with Mac. So, those are things that you can kind of critique, but no, I'm going to go with Kansas City here. No doubt about it. It's going to be a close game, but definitely Kansas City.
I like Kansas City, and I think they explode tonight and cover the 10.5 points. But, these divisional matchups, especially on a short week, can always be tough to pick. But I think we're in agreement Kansas City will get to 5-1.
All right, next we have Tennessee hosting Baltimore. I went back and forth here. I almost picked Tennessee, but I think Baltimore will squeak this one out. I mean, they've had kind of a disappointing up and down kind of. Lamar Jackson's had good moments. He's had okay moments, and they seem a little out of sorts. I think that they can beat Tennessee, although Tennessee has surprised me every so often this season so far. So, but no, I'll go with Baltimore.
Yeah, I'll go with Baltimore. They're just like two of the teams that are in the middle in the NFL. There's like 20 teams that you could kind of throw that are just good one week, bad the next, mediocre the next, like just so inconsistent. But I'll take Baltimore. They need this game because they're only 3-2, and now Cincinnati maybe is making a little bit of a comeback. That division could be, all even after the next week. If Baltimore loses, Cincinnati wins, it's almost like starting over, as Bill Belichick would say.
No, I'm with you there. It could get a little dicey in the AFC North. Yeah. Washington at Atlanta. I like Washington here. Washington, I think overall has looked better, certainly than Atlanta the last couple weeks. But yeah, I think Sam Howell kind of has a little bit of a bounce back game this week. Yeah, I'll take Washington. I don't know if I'm going to watch this one.
No, I think that's one of the least appealing games of the weekend. I'll go with Atlanta just to be
different. Let's see. Cleveland. There we go. Cleveland at or hosting San Francisco. I'm looking at my sheet and like I picked the winner and the spread and the graphics sometimes throw me off because teams to the right usually are the home team when you're looking at graphics like that, but that's not. Yeah, it's so if I screw that up, that's why, because I'm just not paying attention here apparently. But anyways, Cleveland is hosting San Francisco, and look, Deshaun Watson, does he play? Does he not? It doesn't matter. Really, outside, like there's very few players that are going to make a difference. San Francisco's going to win this game, and they're going to do it pretty comfortably.
I think they win the game. I think it's close, though, because Cleveland's defense is still pretty good. I mean, if we see some matchups of Myles Garrett against Trent Williams, that'll be worth watching. I think it's a close game, but how can you pick against San Francisco to win outright? They're clicking on all cylinders, right? I mean, their offense is excellent. Their defense is great. Their special teams, they just look like the most well-rounded team in the league by far. So, yeah, I'll stick with you on that one, that San Francisco wins this game.
Houston hosting the Saints. I like Houston. I mean, Houston's been a surprising team this year. I like them at home. And New Orleans, I'm not going to give any team credit for blowing out the Patriots right now because, well, we saw what happened to Dallas a week after they got blown out. And, again, Texans have been surprising this season, so I'll take them at home.
I'll go with the Texans. C.J. Stroud's playing like a veteran. In his first 5 games, he looks like a really good quarterback. I'll take them as well.
All right, Miami hosting Carolina. I like Miami in this one. Huge spread, 13.5 points. Still not the biggest one that I've seen so far this week, as crazy as that sounds. But I like Miami here. I don't know if they're going to cover this. You know what? They probably will. Let's be honest. They probably will because they're a team that can score very quickly and very fast. And, they might let up a lot of points. But quite frankly, I don't know if Carolina is going to put up too many points. So I like Miami pretty big in this one.
Yeah, Miami at times has a feel of like a high-end college team that they just pile it on like they did against Denver, scoring 70. We know they can put points on the board. Carolina, they really can't be in a tank mode because they don't own their own first-round pick. It belongs to Chicago, so they're going to still show up and play, but Miami should be in good shape with this one.
Cincinnati hosting Seattle. This is going to be a tough one for Cincinnati. I mean, I'm not entirely sold on the Seahawks. I think they're a better team than I originally thought, but the Bengals need to win this one. I know they just came off a big win last week, and you got to kind of stack wins right now, and winning against a team that, maybe in the end isn't going to be a factor in the NFC, but they're playing well now. So if you can beat them now, I think that's another good sign for Cincinnati. So I think that's going to happen. So give me the Bengals.
Yeah, I'll go with the Bengals. This could be the most entertaining game of the weekend, though. If Seattle puts points on the board, Cincinnati looked really good last week. Hopefully Joe Burrow is healthier, and Jamar Chase put out the word that I'm always bleeping open, which apparently was the case last week against Arizona. I'll take the Bengals in a shootout.
Indianapolis heading to Jacksonville. I think maybe this is where Jacksonville has the jet lag that they didn't have last week, coming back. So I'm actually changing my pick now because I think I originally picked Jacksonville. But you know what? I think we're going to go with Indianapolis. Just, it's a tight divisional game. I'll give the edge to Indy, who's been here and probably been waiting for this one. So, yeah, Indy.
I think Jacksonville very close to bring up a great point, Ian. They spent 2 weeks, Jacksonville did, in England. Now they're coming back. That's a lot of wear and tear on the body, but I think they'll find a way to win. But Indianapolis has been one of the surprise teams this year, and now they're going with Gardner Minshew for the next 4 to 8 weeks because Anthony Richardson is out. Minshew, you can make a case as the best backup quarterback in football. Actually, a low-end starter, to be honest with you. But this should be an interesting game, but I'll take Jacksonville very, very close.
Yep, I know. I keep saying he's like the Ryan Fitzpatrick of this this era, because it's like, you can, he's not gonna, for 17 games he's not gonna play at an elite level, but he can give you a month, 2 months, of really good football, and that's why it's like I'm not gonna bat an eye that he can win games for the Colts. So, and in some cases might be better suited to win games right now just because of his experience as opposed to the rookie. So, again, Indy, I like against Jacksonville, who, hit or miss. 1 week they look like a team that might be one of the contenders in the AFC. Next, they don't. So, Chicago hosting Minnesota, NFC North battle. I like Minnesota in this game. I don't. Chicago might actually give them a fight, just because Justin Fields has been playing a little bit better. They put up some points the last couple of weeks. But I still like Minnesota to kind of eke this one out, even though I don't really like them in general. I think they're still a pretty subpar team.
Yeah, no Justin Jefferson from Minnesota for the next month. So Kirk Cousins loses arguably the best receiver in football, one of the top 5 receivers in football. I'll go with the Bears. Nice win last week at Washington on a Thursday night, so they have a little extra time to prepare, which may not be a good thing for them. If the coaches get too involved, it may screw things up, but I'll take the Bears.
Next, we have the Patriots heading to Las Vegas to take on the Raiders. It can't. It's gotta. The bleeding has to stop, right? Right, John? Right?
I don't know.
Right?
I don't know.
Right?
Do you want it to stop? I mean, if they lose this game, right? And obviously we're talking about this game, but then if they lose to Buffalo and Miami the next 2 weeks, which is certainly on the table, at 1-7, you in tank mode at that point?
Well, I mean, I never believe in losing games purposely. I understand the benefit of it, but I can't. First of all, the players are never going to. I think what I mean. They're not, because again, fans think of it as one thing. Players think of it completely different, because they're not necessarily thinking about next year. Some of these guys might not have next year. So, but it's certainly a situation that would be worth monitoring if it continues. I can't believe that it's going to continue. I really don't. I think we're looking at rock bottom right now, so it's not going to get much worse in terms of a couple game stretch. Doesn't mean that they're going to rebound and go to the playoffs, but I don't think you're going to see this lopsidedness. I mean, at a certain point, you can't just average 10 points a game. Like what? Like offensively, not defensively, offensively. Someone said it like they're turning every offense, every defense into the 2000 Ravens that they face, but yeah, I'm going to take the Patriots, and I have no confidence in that pick whatsoever. I'm just hoping that Josh McDaniels somehow screws it up. Like he thinks, you know what I mean? He overthinks something, and then Jimmy G throws like a back-breaking interception or something, which, could happen because, Belichick does know Jimmy G, and we do know that he can, he can make some mistakes. So I'll take the Patriots, and I'm just not going to put any money on it.
I'll take the Raiders only because I think their receivers, if Devontae Adams is healthy, could have a very productive day against the Patriots secondary, which is all banged up. McDaniels is 2-0 in his career against Bill Belichick. So I'm going to go with the Raiders. But again, this does not look like a real appealing game. There may be more turnovers than points at this point.
Ugh, yeah, it's going to be nasty. But anyways, a more entertaining game might be had if you tune to Tampa Bay hosting Detroit. Tampa Bay coming off a bye. Detroit is obviously one of the better teams in the NFC. And, the jury's still out, I think, on Tampa. They've had a really surprisingly good start. A win over Detroit might open some eyes and be like, okay, maybe we should be taking this Tampa team a little bit more seriously, or at least, start to. I do think Detroit's going to win this game. I like their offense, and I think they're going to show up defensively against Baker Mayfield and the Bucs.
Yeah, Detroit, I mean, they're going to just start stockpiling wins. I doubt they'll ever get to the 1 seed because San Francisco looks nearly unbeatable, but they have a real chance to be at worst the 3 seed and get a home playoff game and maybe win their first playoff game since 1991. I think they're going to win this division, I would say handily. I like Detroit on Sunday.
What do we got? We got LA hosting the Cardinals. I like the Rams in this one. They've been another surprisingly good team. I didn't think they were going to be too much, but when you have a receiving core that now features Cooper Kupp again, you're in pretty good shape. So I'll take the Rams.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one.
Eagles. That's it. That's all I'm going to say. The Eagles. Not even who they're playing. Just the Eagles are going to win. They're going to win over the Jets.
Upset of the week.
Oh, come on. Don't do it. Don't. Yes. You don't even believe that. You're just trying to be different.
I do.
No, you don't.
I do. Well, I
don't believe that you believe that. Yeah.
Well, who picked the Bears last Thursday night to beat Washington?
It's Washington. We're not talking. Come on. You don't believe that. You don't believe this. I don't believe that you believe this.
I do.
Yeah.
Zach Wilson, the last 2 weeks has looked like a good quarterback, maybe.
I think
I have my.
Well, you hear that in the background? You hear those alarms?
I know, they're coming to get me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's not the police. That's the insane asylum. I'm pretty sure that's what's it? Arkham Asylum from Batman.
Yeah, exactly.
So they're coming. They're here, knocking on my door. Me. Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. Okay, so this is what's happened with Zach Wilson. This is not my original thought. I'm stealing it from someone, so I'll give them credit. I'm not going to name who, but when the offseason was in full bloom, the entire Jets offense was built for Aaron Rodgers, obviously. Rodgers, like Peyton Manning, does not like pre-snap motion. Veteran quarterbacks, some of them just don't like it. Brady does like it, but Rodgers and Manning never liked it because they can read defenses at a high level. Well, since Zach Wilson took over right away, right in game 1, they kept the same offense there for a couple of weeks. Well, after the Patriots game, they started to use much more motion, and it's made him much more comfortable because now he can read zone or man, and that's helped him quite a bit. So he's actually been better the last 2 weeks. So I'm picking the upset. It's at the Meadowlands. They have a good defense. And Philadelphia, the first 5 weeks, they're 5-0, but they haven't looked overly impressive, right? They've been in a lot of close games. I'm calling the upset.
Well, this one I confidently think I'm going to be right on. Let's just put it that way. Anyways, Buffalo, I told you that those other spreads weren't the biggest one I saw this week. Buffalo plus 14. Yeah, at home against the Giants. And it seems about appropriate. So I'm not going to get fancy here. I'm not going to go crazy like you. I'm not going to convince myself that Daniel Jones is somewhat turning it around and somewhat good quarterback, ? I don't know. Don't think I'm going to do that. I'm going to go with Buffalo in this one.
Yeah, you have to go Buffalo as a 14-point favorite, right? Even as crazy as I am, I'm not picking the Giants.
Well, even so, too, Buffalo is a team that can – I feel like they're the ones that could hurt themselves the most. I feel like they can shoot themselves in the foot more than any other team. You know what I mean? I feel they can come out and give us a dud. And that wouldn't necessarily surprise me. So I actually might be more surprised if the Jets beat the Eagles than if the Giants beat the Bills. So I don't know. That's
It's going to be interesting.
Maybe they both win.
Well, I would be shocked. How would that parlay be? Moneyline Jets, Moneyline Giants. Man, you can retire.
Shit, I might have to put it down. We'll see.
Even $10 would, probably pay for your home trip.
Yeah, but I know, right?
The Giants, is there a mandate that they have to appear on primetime games every week? I know, they're a marquee franchise, but they're horrible. They're it's always Thursday night, Monday night, late Sunday night. They're always involved in these marquee games, and then they look god awful in them.
Well, it's like the Cowboys.
Well, at least the Cowboys are good. At least decent. The Giants are horrible. Well, they're better than the Giants.
It depends on who they play. Are they playing?
They beat the Giants 40-0. So
exactly. Their wins come against the Giants and the Patriots, arguably two of the worst teams in the league.
And the Jets the week after Aaron Rodgers gets hurt, and they're not. They're running the same offense for Zach Wilson as Aaron Rodgers.
And what happens when they go up against San Francisco?
Oh,
they get shellacked. So. Yeah. But anyway, so and speaking of Dallas at the Chargers on Monday night, I I did take Dallas, but it's really kind of a flip of a coin to me. I think both these teams are very similar. I think they have moments. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like they trick us. Like I was just saying, against bad teams. I think Dallas can take advantage of the Chargers defense. As long as you're not putting a whole lot on Dak Prescott. You got to get back to that running ground and pound kind of mentality that they were focusing on. But another 3 interception game from Dak Prescott, and they're not winning this one. So I'm not really confident in this pick, but I'm going to go with the Cowboys.
Yeah, I mean, Brandon Staley against Mike McCarthy as your 2 head coaches. Who knows what's going to happen?
Well, Mike McCarthy is by far a better coach than Brandon Staley.
I mean, he looks like Vince Lombardi compared to Brandon Staley. Staley goes for it 4th and 2 on his own 27 with a 4-point lead. I'm not making that up.
Yeah,
he's done that.
It's stupid.
So, I know Belichick did that in 2009, and I agreed with because I don't know, Peyton Manning was on the other side, so maybe
I also thought that
Tom Brady.
Yeah, I also thought
they got Tom Brady.
I also thought they got the first down in that.
Close, but very close.
I'm just saying.
So I'll go with Dallas in this one. They still have. This could be this might be the wildest game of the year. Right? I mean, because both teams are just so out there.
Yeah, that's true. You're right. That might be the case, actually. I'm not going to lie. So, yeah, something to look forward to on Monday night. So, all right. Well, that's going to do it for us for the week. Like I said, we won't be on tomorrow because we just gave you our pick. So, what else do you want to know from us? I mean, come on. What else do we have to say? I mean, this is about it. So, but we will be back on Tuesday to wrap up the weekend and kind of give our thoughts on all that fun stuff. So, thank you everyone for tuning in. And I just noticed now, if you're watching on the screen, I did not change the bottom third. So it is not the 10th of October. It is in fact the 11th. I'm just reading this now. NFL Week 5 reactions. That was not today, folks. That was not today. Trust me. But anyways, thank you everyone for tuning in, and we will be back on Tuesday.